live. Go ahead and add Frankie Poo. Oh, lame.
Right here.
Not San Angelo practice is what he is.
Not.
Holding right there. So you gotta attack.
Definitely not Blitzcrank.
Alrighty. There we go. Now we're live on YouTube. What's up, fellas?
Man, just getting ready for this weekend.
Look, the Drew, first guy in the chat, as always. What's up, man?
The man. Always
everywhere.
Arm wrestling up.
Yeah.
Man, just getting ready for this weekend, Billy.
Yeah, I think Frank just came on during practice so he can try to beef himself up. You know?
No, I thought we would talk about anything. I wanted to just drop in. There's lots to talk about. There's we posted some stats again today. Corey posted about
horrible stats.
Yeah, how like the average tournament, and I went and double checked the numbers, and they were like, my numbers were right next to his, and then I actually scored it. So what's interesting is like there's the average number of entries per tournament, right?
Can I stop you real quick? Where did you post these numbers to?
They're on the Aries page.
Okay.
Aries Arm Wrestling.
It really is. It is like it's crazy.
Yeah. So what's even more interesting is the median. So do y'all know the difference between median and average, like median and mean?
Sure.
I'm gonna give a little quick math lesson. Median is like your middle numbers. Like say you have a bunch of numbers, it's going to be the numbers that are most commonly in the middle of everything. So kind of what that does is it paints a better picture because it'll take away outliers, people with really big tournaments or really small tournaments are not going to impact the number as much. As opposed to if you have an average, that's why when you look at the average salary of the U.S., that's going to be skewed by CEOs making $2 million a year. Yeah. But if you look at the median salary of the U.S., it's going to be probably a lot lower.
It's only it's between A and like this.
Right, exactly. So, anywho, I went ahead and ran those numbers, and starting in 2022, starting 2021, there's like the median entry count was 98, then 96, then 90, and then 87. And so the point is it's the median entry count per tournament is going down every year right now.
Yep.
And that data. So what we did to get those numbers is we filtered out all super match events where there's only like 10, 15 entries, just to try to only target the tournaments. But yeah, it just the biggest tournaments are still getting bigger, and we've already talked about this before, Billy. How big tournaments are doing well, but due to the number of all the super match events and all the extra avenues athletes have to arm wrestle, the average tournament is getting smaller.
Yes.
And it's almost like a hot take, since the median and average is like under 100 to 120 entries. Maybe someone could say if your event has less than 100 entries, you didn't host a tournament, you just hosted a big practice.
I mean, it's
one way to look at it.
Yeah. No,
it's also within the realm that there's a lot more people trying to be promoters and throwing more tournaments than they were before too, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, so this is the argument. Is arm wrestling growing? Well, it depends on how you want to measure it. If you're measuring it based off of the size of tournaments, no, not really. But if you're measuring it based off of the number of events and, probably like we have more people arm wrestling today than we ever have. That's a fact. We have those numbers in areas also where I can just look at the number of active pullers per year, and we're at an all-time high right now.
Which is crazy considering that our tournaments are getting lower. We're introducing more people into the sport currently right now, but yet
Yeah, the number of tournaments per year is going up faster than the number of new pullers.
You know, I said this on like a podcast a couple weeks ago, and like there were a few people that like were appalled by my comment. And like people, promoters, you know, people wanting to be promoters need to be very careful because you can oversaturate the landscape.
Yeah, but the big number is ultimately what everybody's goal is probably just the overall number of pullers, which I think even without some numbers, even without the tournament numbers and who's showing up to what tournament, the overall number of pullers is, I don't know, exponentially growing, maybe potentially, but it's definitely growing.
The number of athletes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we can see it, you know, not just in Aries, but probably in Texas alone. Billy knows, you know, we have more amateurs in the sport. Like, you know, we're amateur heavy. Like, we're so bottom heavy in Texas. Like, our top 2 or 3 guys in every class are really good, but then it just drops off into amateur land for the next 100 athletes in every. But, you know, how many other states have weight classes where, you know, we have names of like up to like 50 people per weight class? I know you recently cleaned up those rankings, but you know,
and really it's not that those arm wrestlers are gone, they're just not competing.
Yeah, exactly. Like they're going to practices, you know, they're doing stuff like that, but you know, I know that some people in West Texas and El Paso and maybe even in Northern Texas and Houston, they all kind of feel like they're isolated, right? And Texas is big enough to be 3 states. I think everything in Central Texas is, I don't know. I think it's hot. We got lots of 3 or 4 teams in Austin, 4 or 5 teams in Dallas area, like 3 teams in San Antonio, you know.
So
pretty crazy.
I made that post.
It's pretty crazy. Huh?
Yeah, I made that post the other day, and I think we were like clicking at about 30 teams in Texas.
Which
30 teams.
Yeah, I need to go back through
Some
it because
states
I know
don't even have 30 arm wrestlers.
I know.
We need to change that.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, change what? Like we need fewer teams or what?
No, we need more people pulling in every single state. Ultimately, we're saying.
That's a good comment. Yeah, the majority. I mean that's true. I mean absolutely. I mean by the nature. Yeah, that's absolutely true.
Yeah, most definitely. So let me ask you this: in terms of your stats there, I'm curious about the brackets. So, how many more brackets out of Texas are you getting than any other state? Who submits the most brackets? Do you have a number on that?
I don't have the number, but I can tell you it's Texas, undoubtedly. I mean, with all the regional qualifiers and you know, like the everyone in Texas is on board, and Texas is just by the nature of how large it is, they're hosting the most amount of events. So you know, but you know, there's per capita some really close seconds. There's a couple of states and 2 or 3 promoters in each one that they submit everything. You know,
how
well like.
Bad are you still how bad are you still dealing with people like that are throwing tournaments but they're not submitting? How big of an issue
Gary,
is that?
have you submitted your results yet?
Just while ago.
Say that again.
Yes.
Yeah. Some states, I mean, there's a couple promoters who are always late, like a couple weeks. But I think most promoters are on board. Or at least they say they're going to do it. It just takes a little longer. You know, if you're Billy Ortegas, you're submitting them the next day and whatnot. And I don't know if Bailey cleans up the data before he sends it in, but I think TAL's stuff is normally almost completely drag and drop. You know, Corey and I have to clean up other events sometimes. And I think TAL's really adopted using the name feature where you use the auto population on the names. And so we have fewer misspellings and
does make a difference.
Yeah, and it's faster, right, to enter. Yeah. So
that was going to be my question. So, how do you make it easier for other promotions to get this?
Already have. I mean, Corey's put in so many hours. I mean, right now to type in your name train with your 2 weird Y's and whatnot, it's just TREY, and then 3 trains are showing up, and then they can just pick click it and it auto, they don't have to type in your full name.
Yeah.
So, I don't know how much easier they can make it.
I still find the occasional one here in Texas with like the double profiles and stuff like that. I think we cleaned most of that up though.
Yeah, like Jeremy messaged me because he had a profile that was like Jeremiah Woodward and then Jeremy Woodward, and there's people like that, but
there's you guys have a form set up though for that, right?
Yeah. We have a form set up,
right
and I have a script that I basically run, and it fetches the names out of the form, and like I spot check it to make sure it didn't make any mistakes, and then I just update everybody all at once, and I run that like once a week.
So this weekend's tournament, is this the first time that it's been ran based on areas? Is this the first tournament, or is
I'm gonna go arm wrestle, guys? See ya.
Oh, yeah. So Corey's been running the tier system with Colorado State and Wyoming State for a few years now. So he's been basically running the beta.
Okay.
Right. And so, yeah, I think I might be the first promoter outside of Corey that's decided to go straight ELO with tiers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Actually, I think I'm 100% sure I am.
Yeah. And today I saw that you did it. So it goes, the way that you're wording it is tier 3, which would be the novice class, is going to be $13.99 and below. Tier 2 is going to be the amateur class at $1,400 to $1,529, and then the open class $1,530 plus.
Yeah.
And is that how Corey runs it?
No, so Corey does his on a national average, so his ELOs are a little bit higher. Like I think last year his ELO for his tier 1 was like $1,550. I think he might have actually bumped it up a little bit higher this year. So what I did was I went to airs and filtered each class down by state. And then I just started looking at the names. I mean, I pretty much, with the exception of some new pullers, I pretty much know who's competing in the open class, who's competing in the amateur classes. And that 1530 where, guys were, most of those guys were competing in the open class already, and then looking on down to the lower end, we've got some guys that, and look, this is not a dig at them. They're just not that good at arm wrestling.
Yeah.
And they're in that lower range along with the newcomers and stuff like that. Guys that I'm considering a newcomer with 2 or less events.
Sure.
So, and then the mid range is pretty mid for the amateurs. Some of those guys are most of those guys are pulling amateur and then dabbling in the open class, here and there. So I went back and I double checked with Frank just to kind of see, and he liked the numbers as well. So that's what we kind of ran with.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm excited to compete in it and see. It looks like there's going to be a pretty good showing for this one, just based on the people that have RSVP'd. This one meaning the Battle in the Republic coming up this weekend on Saturday.
Yeah.
And got a lot of super matches. How many is there? Is there 4?
6.
6. There are 6 super matches to open up this what would be called the Eastern qualifier.
Regional.
Same thing. Eastern regional but Battle in the Republic.
Yeah.
And
what's up, Jerry?
I'm looking towards this Ian and David. Looking towards that one for sure. Who else do we have on that?
Oh, you talking about on the super match card?
Yep.
Okay, so let me break it down. We have on our left hand, we've got Popeye versus Chad Shelby. No, I'm sorry, that's a right hand.
Chad Shelby, okay.
Right hand match, sorry. So Popeye's been pulling 154 the past few tournaments. He's bulked up a little bit because he hit me up and he was like, hey, what do you think I should do? I really don't want to pull 176 anymore. So I just kind of told him, I said, look, if you ever want to come back to 176, at least your rank will be where you kind of have it, right?
Uh-huh.
And I said, or you could just give it up, and then if you, for some reason you don't want to be 154 anymore, then you got to start from scratch. So you might as well just take it, So yeah, he bulked up a little bit for this one. The next one we got is David Platania versus Ian Wagner, right-handed.
Guns a blazing. What do those guys rank? So David's not ranked on the TAL rankings, right?
I'd have to look.
I think he might be on it, but I don't know if he's had a match yet. A super match
right-handed. Yeah, he hasn't had a match yet. But Ian's number 3 right-handed.
So David is just below what would be considered pro class, it looks like, on the right hand.
You're looking at airs?
Yep. So at a 15-26, but some pretty significant wins. The last tournament was the Super 64.
Yeah.
He beat Donnie Bertolato, Corey Lashley, and Orlando Martinez.
That's pretty good.
It's nothing to scoff at.
Orlando's left, I think, is better, but I mean that's still pretty good.
Yes.
Pretty good.
Yep. And then Ian is sitting at on the right hand at 1607.
Yeah.
So David just about to hit that pro level at 1530, if that's what And Ian at a 1607, but Ian's old. So yeah, he could be washed. Who knows? We'll find out Saturday.
Yeah, I don't know. So the Shanks match was pretty dominant.
But hey, listen, the Shanks boys, not just John, but those boys are they ain't no joke. Yeah, they ain't no joke, and they take this game very seriously. And so, while I was a little bit surprised to see that loss, at the same time, I've lost to John a couple times myself, and he's a hell of a stud. So,
let me run through these. So then we've got our last right-handed would be Wade Carlson versus Joel Birchfield. That's a challenge that just popped up.
Yeah, I saw that. That one's an interesting one. What weight are they doing that at?
That'd be 242.
242.
Yeah.
Okay. Wade he'd be right there in the pro class. I'm not familiar with the other fella.
Joel's pretty good. I mean, he's been around a little bit.
What's his last name?
Birchfield. See, left-handed, we got Les Flores and Jonathan Davis. Then we've got Austin Jennings versus Livingston.
How do you feel about that match?
I mean, Livingston's a banger, man. He's just been around for a while, and it could be. I mean, Austin's good, so it could. I mean, Livingston could come out with a show.
I think he can too. I think that they pull basically exactly the same on the left hand. Austin, I would think, just from what I have saw, I don't know exactly, but I would think that Austin's probably got a few more tools that he's able to use if he wants to, a couple more. But you can't take anything away from his opponent because he's been in the game for a long time, so he can switch it up. I'm sure of it.
And then the last left-handed one we got is Brian Arrington and Billy Boo.
Now, this one is really cool. Mr. Brian Arrington, I think, was he 17, 18 years old?
Yeah. We have some guys. We have some young guys that are coming up. The Shanks, Arrington, Nathaniel Howard. Like, we've got some really good young bucks coming up.
Man, yeah, you take an athlete like John Shanks, for instance. I say this all the time, but it's like, that kid should be, you would think, would be playing like just some varsity basketball and football or something. But nope, the whole family, all in on arm wrestling. I don't know if they do anything in school, but it pretty much, I mean, I just saw him in Frank's video. He's arm wrestling. That's what he's choosing to do. And I think that's rad, super rad. And this Brian Arrington, this kid's good. This kid is good. I haven't seen Billy Boo pull for a little while.
Yeah.
Last time I saw him,
Billy Boo's left is not his right, but Billy Boo's still he's been around for a while. Still a really good puller. So
fast.
I think it's going to be an interesting match. I mean, the last time Billy pulled was actually he pulled Iron Will. They had a rankings match earlier this year. So Cody
he had one with Iron Will.
Yeah.
They're pulling right-handed, him and Brian.
Yeah. Oh, left-handed. Sorry.
They're pulling left-handed. Okay.
Left-handed.
And you said his right is better than his left.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he ain't got many matches on the left hand, so.
Yeah.
And then that's at 54.
Yes.
Gotcha. Yeah, that'll be good. That'll be a good tester match for Brian for sure.
For sure.
I'm not the president of the TAL, so I'm going to take Brian on this one. I can.
I know. I mean, I have my opinions, but I'll try to stay. I'll try to stay neutral.
Yeah, I attack you sometimes for it, though. Just try to force you into making a pick.
Yeah. We'll do it off camera.
Yeah, that'll work.
So what's up, Jerry? What you got going on, man?
Man, not much. I was. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I was just going to jump on and touch on that on the tournaments and the smaller tournaments and that kind of subject. I've been waiting for this PINPAD conversation to pop up. It's kind of popular in the arm wrestling world, right?
I mean, it's a topic for sure.
Well, my kind of stance on it is, I mean, I understand where everybody comes from, and I understand where you say, pretty much dilutes, too many small tournaments. Yeah, I can see how it would dilute a state per se. But with Texas being so big, I only hold the Battle in the Pines, and I mean, I started my first tournament. This is 5 years. My first tournament was 23 entries. Now I'm over 100. Year 5, I mean, I'm over 100. I went over 100 this year. So, I mean, my small tournament's growing. But, I mean, we're talking East Texas. I mean, from Houston, I guess if you want to call it East Texas, I mean, there's nothing really north of Houston in this area or east of Dallas. There's nothing. So without the couple of small tournaments in this area, I mean, we would be setting, maybe 1 or 2 tournaments a year. Unless we traveled, everybody wanted these new guys around here wanted to travel, 2.5, 3 hours for their first tournament. I mean, I could see how that would deter some of the new guys. So I say the smaller tournaments are an add-on to the bigger tournaments. Not, just like a thorn in nobody's side. I feel like. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I will let you finish before I.
I feel like sometimes everybody's like, "Oh man, these small tournaments," And like I said, I understand to a certain point that it would water down a big, pull from a bigger one. But I've seen from us these small tournaments. Just, I can't speak for West Texas or South Texas and all that, but I've seen shirts, individuals that wouldn't be at a TAL tournament if it wasn't for Labor Day Showdown, Battle in the Pines, just a couple of smaller tournaments is adding. I can see how we're adding to it, not really taking away from it. So, I mean, that's just kind of like where I'm seeing it, but I'm not the, president of the TAL either. I mean,
so let me just preface by saying this. A lot of people, and I would assume, including yourself, Jerry, feel that I'm being the mean guy, right? And it's not that. Look, Jerry, if you want to have your events, brother, have your events.
Yeah, you're not being the mean guy by no means.
but I want people to understand where I'm coming from, right? And this is what I'm talking about. So, like, we have a goal every year, and that is to provide for Texas State, right? Texas State is the pinnacle. We're probably only one of the state championships across the country that actually do cash payouts, and that's a tough goal to reach every year. And the two things that enable us to do that is sponsorship and attendance at events. Now, look, if Texas wants to go the way of, I'm just going to say it like this: if Texas wants to go the way of 52 events a year, one every weekend, fine. I really don't have a problem with that.
I mean, throwing 52 out there is kind of, it'll never reach
but
that.
I get it, but you have to. I mean, there's one of the things you have to understand is that, like, we're getting there, dude. Like, we're getting there. Like, we've got 4 guys in Dallas and Fort Worth alone that are wanting to throw additional events every year, and not just one, multiple. We have our 5. We have the existing ones that have already been here, the pulling for special kids and stuff like that. Then we have additional events coming on. We got EVW. Like, we're getting ready to be 1 a month, if not 2 a month, really quick. And look, that's fine. Hey, more arm wrestling, that's great. They're gonna be smaller events, and that's just the way. Those are just facts, right? Your tournament might be growing. That's great. That means East Texas is growing, which is a good thing. But I have to reinvent TAL to conform with the landscape. I can't, if my tournaments, and it just is what it is, if my tournaments are getting less attendance, that's less than I have going forward towards the end of the year, I've got to step back and reassess where I need to go with TAL. The goals might have changed. Maybe Texas State payouts is not the goal anymore, right? Maybe we have to go somewhere else to adapt with the landscape that's changing to us. So, it's unfortunate that this might have to happen, but at the end of the day, you want to throw your event, you want to throw 5 events over in East Texas?
No,
it's not a problem. I'm just saying it's a hypothetical, right? But I'm just saying I'm not upset about it. I'm more stressed about it because now I'm thinking about what do I need to do to adapt to this, right? Because I can't continue to kill myself. My directors kill ourselves trying to, beat down sponsorships and stuff when our tournaments are getting less and less because there's just more availability. Look, like you just said, 2 or 3 hours of driving. Honestly, that's ridiculous. The fact that people think 2 or 3 hours is a long drive blows my mind. But
for a new guy going to his first tournament, it is kind of ridiculous.
I'm different though. I mean, I understand that. For I have guys here in Texas or here in San Antonio that won't drive to a practice on the other side of town because it's an hour. I mean, so I'm just different. A 6-hour drive for me is nothing. But it is for a lot, and this is not just Texas too. I mean, look, I'm talking to promoters all across the country, and the situation is the same everywhere. Like up in the Northeast, if you take Texas and you put it over in the Northeast, and just the land, the area, they're like us. I mean, there are tournaments, out the wazoo, 2 and 3 a month. But they have a huge saturation of pullers in that area, Yeah. So they're kind of able to adapt a little bit to it. When we're getting bigger, but just like anything else, it's like, okay, well, what do we need to do as promoters here in Texas to kind of make sure that we're maximizing? But I like big tournaments. That's just the way it is. I like big tournaments. I don't like if somebody likes a small tournament, then cool. But then again, if I reinvent the goal for TAL and go a different direction, and I don't have that 10 or 12 grand bill to meet at the end of the year for Texas State, and I can focus a little bit in some different areas, then that changes things. I just need to know where to go. That's been a main point of my stress lately is where do I go? Do I go a different direction? Do I stay, on the same path and just try to fight through it? You know, that's my dilemma at the moment.
I got you.
My input on this would be that the super match landscape, which I think somebody brought up here in the chat, Sasquatch.
Sasquatch.
The super match landscape is like, for me personally, and I can't speak for everybody, but for me personally, and
try to highlight some of these comments while we're going through this.
Yeah. That's what gets my juices going. And honestly, what it makes
I agree with that too. That post right there. Too many rank holders. Sorry about that.
No, it's true. That's I commented on that and said, "Yep, that's the one I was talking about." It is true. Too many rank protectors don't want to pull, and it just leaves this kind of like. And this isn't just in Texas arm wrestling rankings specifically. This is just in general. The super match landscape for me is like, that's what it actually makes me want to attend more tournaments and events. I don't have a problem attending events anyways. I don't care how far it is, really. I'll make any one that I can. Not everybody's like that, but I know that super match landscape is, and the biggest thing with the super match landscape is just having somebody that's, kind of making the call or trying to set it up for the athletes versus the athlete coming together and going, "Hey, I want to fight you." Yeah, I want to fight you too. That's, for whatever reason, that's a problem. But if somebody sets it up and directs it and goes, "You two should have a match because that looks good," it seems to help the situation. And so I don't know how other people. I'd like to see a vote. I'd like to see a vote on TAL page. What is your personal opinion? Do you prefer tournaments or do you prefer super matches? I'd like to see that. I love both of them. But man, planning and prepping for a super match. Oh, that is.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna blame this right here on the super match. Right? I'm gonna blame East. I love East. Look, I get it. Look, it's funny. A little backstory, right? There was a point in time where I was distancing myself away from EVW. They had already pulled the qualifiers from the United States, but I had already decided that I wasn't going to throw anymore. And then Robert Baxter took over. I was fortunate enough, they came to Arlington. We were able to run that. And, I got to see a lot of behind the scenes with that. And it kind of re-inspired my like for EVW. Now, there's been some drama of late. For me personally, I think if you're not directly involved in it, people need to stay the hell out of it. You need to let these big dogs work through their stuff. All these people involving themselves and causing a stir is only adding fuel to a fire that doesn't need to burn anymore.
Yeah.
But this right here is, they have glorified super match arm wrestling, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And so therefore you have a lot of amateurs that are like trying to bite off a piece of that glory, right?
Yep.
So that's why super match events are so popular right now.
Yeah, and I don't think I want to reiterate that me having a super match coming up October 11th for Pulling for Special Kids against Jason Montgomery for the #2 Texas Arm Wrestling League ranking spot, which let me just say right here, a little promo. Robert Kelly, that's probably going to end up just like that, but that's nobody's fault but Jason's, really, for taking the match, because that's going to be a 3-0
let me catch up on this
going for me. But anyways, having this super match come up and having this be a thing just juices me up even more to want, because we all know that basically it's just, this is what everybody wants to do. It's what everybody wants to do. They, like you said, they want that glory. They want to be a part of it. They want to tap into that. Well, get after it.
You preface that. That was the comment before that. Bad matchmaking. That was yours.
Yeah. So all that said, I think me not making decisions for the TAL at all, but if that's what's trending, which clearly it is because of, like you said, your shirt, East versus West.
Yeah.
Maybe the format needs to dial more in that direction.
So, and look, and there may not be a lot. This is the reality of it all. And Jerry throwing at tournaments, there's an overhead to these things, and super match events don't have there's no budget for that, right? If you want to, you're probably scrapping together if you can get volunteers for refs and all this other kind of stuff. So creating an income source, to actually just support the super match event was going to be really difficult.
Sure. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. You got to have something there, but at the same time, if you're kind of doing this already anyways, Billy, where it's like you have 6 super matches that you're throwing, but is this the most that you've done before a tournament?
I'd have to go back to our early. I think there was maybe one tournament or so that we did. I think maybe one of the Northerns we did. We had a bunch of them.
Yeah, so, it's like, I'm not saying don't throw the tournament, but even for people that want to see those matches, I think at the end of the day, it's just somebody directing, and matchmaking, and just.
Well, here's the thing too. Maybe you're going to throw it out there. So Mac, they're throwing super match events, and they're charging people. They're charging the guys to have super matches at their event.
And that's the thing.
I mean, at $30 a match, $30 a person, that pays the refs. That pays for if you're going to do awards or something like that. I know they do jerseys. I mean, I don't know if that's something anybody's interested in. I mean,
Yeah, my worry is just making it harder for people to. I think just if somebody's doing the matchmaking, and basically selling something that hasn't happened yet, or like just for instance, me and Jason Montgomery, this happened naturally between him and I. But if somebody's selling that match before that match even happens, and before either of the athletes have. It's why they have analysts for other sports that are, like combat sports and stuff that go, man, this match looks really, really good. This could be really good. And talking to them and trying to put it together and get those two guys up on the stage together. Naturally, It seems like you'll draw a bigger attendance for that's what's going to happen this weekend. I'm sure of it. One of the things that looks really cool is that I think, if I heard correctly, Cody Haga he's making the drop down to 198. He's wanting to wood his ass, is what it sounds like. So
that's going to be good.
Yeah. So not a super match, but it'd be cool to see those guys pull, side by side in the tournament and see what happens at the end of that. So I just think that the super matches can, also be that extra draw for attendance.
So we started doing that, and we weren't quite dialed in on our tournament running yet, so we felt that adding too many super matches to it, we're going to just elongate the tournament. Since then we've got it fairly dialed in, and we give a little bit of there's a little bit of leeway for the open class or pro class pullers, considering that they don't have to be there until a little bit later. Now if they show up at 9 a.m. the day of and they stay all day long and then complain about how long of a day it was, that's not my fault.
It's not your fault.
You don't have to be here until 3.
Hey, you signed up for this.
Yeah. But it does seem to kind of alleviate a little bit because, I mean, if you're a true open class puller, you're on weight, maybe you have to do an early weigh in, you come in and then you go back to the hotel room, you go walk around town, do whatever, get something to eat. You show back up at 3. I mean, your day might be 3 hours, maybe, depending upon what class you're in.
Mm.
So, we've gotten to the point where I think we can run them. At Central, we ran those 5 super matches that we had. We ran those in I think 45 minutes. And those were all pretty much best of 5.
Yeah.
Now with these 6, we're not going to run them on one table. We're going to run one-on-one and we're going to have 2 tables running at the same time, just to make sure that we are trying to hit that 1 o'clock start time.
Is there a way to? So this is just a fresh thought. You can shut it down right away. I'm obviously thinking in terms of me being behind a camera, but I'm also thinking in terms of just how it looks on film, how it looks on Robert Kelly's live. Is there a way to situate it in such a way that I guess you get the 30-60, but basically where you have one round go down on this table and then they finish up their round, and then you have one, and then boom, you have one round go down on this table. I know you have that 30-60 second break that they're supposed to have, and then they get back on the table, so that can mess with that. But you just have nonstop, no break. Does that make sense? What I'm trying to say? Like,
yeah, I mean, it really all just depends on the pullers. You get 2 guys up there that want to jack around on the grip and, and all this kind of stuff. And then that match ends up being, you get a couple fouls in there, ends up being a 3 or 4 minute match before you run another round on the other one.
Yeah. Run into that.
I think what I'll probably end up doing is, we'll see what the situation is, and maybe we can have somebody else run my camera on the other one.
Well, I'm not worried about that part per se. I want to capture everything. You know me.
Sure.
I want everything. I want to make everybody look awesome. So it's but I'm just thinking in terms of just the flow of the live feed, where it's just you're getting that nonstop action when it comes to the super matches. So just a thought.
Yeah, but Robert will be running both. I mean, you'll have both of them going at the same. You'll be watching both matches go down at the same time.
So. True. Yeah. Yep.
So,
yeah. Nevertheless, it'll. I think you're kind of doing it anyways. What I was saying, like the super matches are just kind of piling up, and it was funny how they all started dropping. It was like one person said it was after the EVW qualifiers. One person called out somebody. Robert, I know you can handle anything, buddy. Have no worries in that. But yeah, they just the call outs just started dropping after that. It was cool to see.
Dude, I think we had 15 or 18 at one point.
Yeah, it was so cool to see everybody just going like, I want this dude. Let's go.
But that's also, I've also been rolling around an idea in my head about watching some of these. So we allow these matches to go down everywhere, right? And unfortunately, and I'm not trying to throw shade, but sometimes the environments aren't conducive for a good match, right? Maybe there's some variables in there. Huh?
In terms of,
it might be reffing, it might be it might be set up, or something like that. So
no risers.
Huh?
I said no risers.
I mean, there's a lot of factors that you don't you lack in at a practice that you would get, say, at a tournament, right?
Yeah.
So maybe I've been rolling around the idea that with so many events in Texas, there should be ample opportunity to try to schedule your match either at Jerry's event, our event, the Labor Day Showdown, pulling for special kids. There's, like Michael Thompson just had his against Brian Sissom down in McAllen. There's a lot of opportunity out there, events that are going to have refs or people that are at least used to reffing, and you're going to have the tournament set up where you're going to have a table where it's going to be bolted down. It's going to be, there's not going to be these variables that, so maybe that's the way we need to go, is maybe we need to kind of focus more on pushing these things to events. That way we know that the officiating is going to be kind of up to par.
That's the big thing. It's like you almost need to have like a centralized organization that everybody agrees upon, at least in Texas. You can at least that's a place, just this, here's our certified officials and this is the rule set we agree on, or rule sets I think everybody goes by the same rule set, right? Pretty close.
Well, you say that, but we got Marcus up there running flash pin rules. Which,
sure.
Honestly, I really don't care. My biggest point with any of these rankings matches is that we have standard rule set, right? And that rule set is primarily there when we have issues, right? When pullers can agree on what they want to do. They can agree on, like, maybe you have somebody dragging their feet on trying to set a date or something like that. This is where the rules are going to get enforced. But if I got two guys that are working together, they're communicating, and they're agreeing on things, I mean, time limits, we can do an extension on these things, right? As long as guys are working together to try to get it done, I'm easy. But the second somebody starts dragging their feet, I'm like, all right, well, you know what? There's a time limit. Well, I want to do best of 5. Well, the other guy wants to do best of 3. This is where we go to the rules, But if guys want to agree on something else, like Marcus is throwing some of those matches, they're going to do flash pin. I was like, as long as you guys agree, it's not a big deal to me.
Yeah. Yeah, because everybody could probably agree on the fact that the rules are an ever-changing process. They are in EVW as well. I don't think there's been an event where they haven't made a change. Like,
sure,
some sort of a change where, it's not perfected yet. But, yeah, I guess an athlete I agree with you, Billy. I think, the athletes agree on it, and it's close enough to – I think the biggest thing is, like, are you making weight?
Yeah.
You're making weight for your class. That's the big thing. I want to kind of say, like, a down ref and a head ref probably is pretty crucial to have somebody on both sides.
Sure. Well, I mean, look, I went back and watched your video on the Shanks and Ian match. It wasn't great.
Well, we had Frank. Frank's a software engineer. He's not a referee.
Yeah, this is true, and he doesn't claim to be one. But
no, he did not. That's why I feel.
Yeah, he was that day, and it wasn't great on the. And Trey, I mean, Trey's a smart and capable guy, but like I told you the other day, officiating, you have to get your reps in.
Yep.
You can't just like get certified and then not go and go like a year without reffing and think you're just going to be able to jump into a match and just do it, right? Mm-hmm. Like you have to continue. It's something you have to continuously get your reps in to be more comfortable, to be more confident, to, like you take more control of the matches.
Yes.
Know how to do that. And part of that is being confident in what you're calling and what you're, and stuff like that. If you're not sure, you're not going to control that match.
Correct. Yeah. And I say, just because I get to stand up there and film, one of the people I've talked to about this, Brian Firmino, I think it was one of his first tournaments that he was reffing for the TAL. And that was like, I talked to him on the side when the athletes went down. I'm like, dude, even if you feel like you made the wrong decision, stand by what you said, talk to the down ref, come to a conclusion, but just this is your table. Run the table.
Yeah. And look, I'm not perfect. I'm not trying to cast shade because I'm like, I'm saying I'm a perfect ref or anything like that. For sure. I'm still working on mine. But outside looking in, you can get a different perspective. And I think if a lot more refs took constructive criticism a little bit better, right? Because you, like, say the guy doing the video, you see so much more that nobody else sees. Yeah. And you have the ability to slow it down. You have the ability to rewind. And we all know that. So being able to, like, for somebody like you or like me, when I was taking video at the time, to be able to go to one of my refs and go, look, going through the video, this is what I saw. And I didn't see that. I know you didn't see it, but this is what we're talking about.
I'm just telling you.
Yeah. Like, right. It's like, so I'm just calling it to your attention. It is what it is. Look, refs miss calls. Look, the highest level in the game right now.
Whoa. I hate to say because I love him, but those Todd Hutchings elbow floats.
Look,
you can't hide from that. Like, it's one of my most favorite, but those elbows.
I'm going to say, look, it's I guess I'm just going to be an asshole when I say this. The last EVW, the reffing was pretty bad.
It was brutal. Yeah.
To the point where we've now got to put a third ref on a camera just to make sure we remember our call count. We're not missing.
Oh, I think we lost Billy.
Uh-oh.
You still hear me, Jerry?
Yes, I can hear you.
You guys, while we're waiting on him, do you guys have issues with officiating at all that you guys go back and look at? And...
Who?
Well, I try to get any of my terms. I try to get Cody Bird and Rick Parlay to ref mine because I mean I like the way they ref, and I mean we have a couple people that and we let I've only seen one time that a review went down, and it was overturned, and it didn't make somebody very happy when it got overturned. But hey, it's there for a reason. I mean, if we're going to allow them to review the booth, then I mean, we're taking it to a whole different game, really. So.
Yeah, it's super important, man. And especially for the athletes. And I know a lot of them are quiet about it because at the end of the day, what are you going to do? Like after it's happened, it's been called, and then you go back and you watch the footage. And as the footage gets better, you got Robert Kelly on live cameras. He's adding more cameras. He's adding more mics.
You got people with cell phones. I think maybe if we're going to allow some reviews, maybe it needs to be from the designated camera guy, not the LG from the audience. Maybe just one camera. Say if you're going to review it, it's got to be from this camera, not Joe Blows from the second aisle. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, look, this is. I want to address this comment. This is something that I hope to, through our process and what I want to do and gain more refs for TAL, is that we end up gaining more refs in Texas, right? More certified, trained refs that can go out and officiate these other events. So yeah. I mean, it is one of my goals. Like I was talking with Trayton before we started, was that I want to do more referee seminars next year, but there's also a cost in that, right? So,
educate me. So, in order to do a referee seminar, you have to be qualified to be able to lead a seminar and qualify other people. What's the process look like there?
Most of it, the guys running, you got Sean Hancock.
Yep.
All right. You got Leonard.
Yep.
Keith Michelle can run them.
Mm-hmm.
So Sean is running everything under his PAL USA as an international master. You got Leonard, obviously international master. Keith Michelle, international master. I think those two are the two under USAA that can do qualifications. You have Luke Polsher that can do qualifications underneath USAF.
Sorry, Luke, after watching your last performance on ref, and I don't know about that. Just kidding. I know you're great. Everybody makes boo.
Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation. I need to pull the 98 like after dark episode where
Poor Bob.
But here's the thing. I think that.
Well, how hard is it for somebody to go get this done? I mean, somebody.
Well, one, you have to either travel to an event that they're going to hold a referee seminar at, or a promotion has to pay them to come in to hold the seminar.
So the last one I remember witnessing, and I filmed it actually, was with Leonard and Marcus, and I think he's done more since then. But that was like 2 years ago, I think, at the USAA tournament that they had in Austin.
Yeah.
And so, I'm just like, what is the available? Like, is there a way? Look, here's my point behind this. I have notoriously have said that I don't want to be a ref But then, like, when these super matches happen at practices and stuff like that, and then you see what you see, I'm like, man, I need to just be educated in this anyways. Like, even if I'm not actively trying to be an official at a tournament or an event or something like that, I just want to do it. But the availability on doing it is and getting certified so that it's legitimate. I don't know what that looks like, I guess. I've seen Sean Hancock, I've seen him make posts where he actively tries to advertise like I'm doing this, that, and the other, but it doesn't seem as available, you know.
So Sean's actually made the process a little bit better. All right. So you can actually get your level 1 by taking an online test right now.
Okay, great. So I didn't even know that.
So your introduction right now, you can go to armfighter.com. There's a tab there. It says referee seminar. You can watch a video in which he goes through, demonstrates all the rules. You take an online test, you pay $50, and you walk away with your level 1 certification as a down ref.
Okay.
All right. So from there, you escalate your levels by going to either his event or, you know, something like that. And then you can get your level 2, level 3, and on up. My hope.
Does he have one at every event?
No, but you have, I mean, they're kind of hit and miss. If you request one and you can get enough people to do it, right, then he doesn't mind having it, right? But it's, you know, for the 1 or 2, maybe not. But like, I know what he's been doing is like, if you get that level 1, his status is his thing has changed, right? You get that level 1, you're introduced to it already. Then what you do is you show up to his next event and you actually ref his event. And from there, he'll either keep you at a level 1, maybe you need more work, he'll give you a level 2. If you do really good, maybe you'll get higher. You know what I mean? But that's how you gain your, you know, your stripes going up, is that you actually ref an event.
Yeah, I just I wish that there was more availability. I just feel like more availability would probably encourage more people to do it, to, you know, want to be a part of it. And I just think that it's so important. One example of why it's so important that doesn't have anything to do with, I mean, it has something to do with bad officiating, but I don't think that Marcus was being a bad officiant, bad referee, head referee. But some of the things that you can see happen, if you go back and watch Michael Bedwell and Tucker Keating, and you know, one of the things that I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it is in the flash pin rule set, is that elbow bobs are, you know, depending upon the elbow, it's the head ref's discretion. Which
I hate. Honestly, I hate them. But go ahead.
But it's like I kind of get it from a perspective, because it's like, you know, not all of them are. It's not, you don't want to stop the match, and you know what, like, you don't want to stop the match. You want to keep it going as long as that person doesn't get an advantage when the elbow.
Here's the fallacy in that is exactly what you just said. As long as that person doesn't gain advantage. The problem is you as an officiator have no way to know that.
True. That's
the one
true.
thing you do know is that elbow left the pad.
Yeah. Yeah.
The problem with creating these extra rule sets is you introduce subjectivity, right?
Right.
It's all into the interpretation of the officiator, what happened with these variables. Well, that elbow bob from this guy didn't gain any advantage. You don't know that for sure.
Yeah.
There's no way for you to know that.
What'd you say, Jerry?
I said the hobble may have stopped an advantage.
For sure. And just to finish on what I was going with there is just that, you know, it seemed, and this is another thing in the rule set that I was thinking about, or have been thinking about, is that Tucker looked like he was intentionally going for a foul with his elbow bob, and, you know, Michael caught that, and you know, you saw the pictures of the arm. Like that's the, you know, and that's like could potentially be a rule thing, because intentionally fouling is intentionally fouling. Like, the ref's supposed to call it, but it's at the ref's discretion for the elbow bob.
So this is the thing with this, right? And I don't think anybody's done it yet, right? But like, let's take flash pin rules, right? That bob, right? Let's say somebody does it, that bob to try to get the restart. Well, under flash pin, you're probably not gaining any advantage by trying to do that, right?
Mhm.
So if a puller were actually smart, they would foul crazy, right? In a way that gives them an advantage rather than just like this, the regular elbow hop to get that restart.
Yeah.
So, I mean, why not just, do something crazy? You're going to get the foul anyway.
Sure. So what you see, because East versus West has the same thing, and I was talking to Dustin DeWoody about this on the last DVW event, and you can hear Matt Mask talking about it with his corner, because what was important to him is that his hand was getting close first in the ref's grip.
Sure.
That was what was winning. And so that's where the elbow intentionally coming off the pad it becomes this whole thing. Like it's this whole,
it's a strategy. It's a game.
Yeah. And it's like, so you have two things to tackle here. It's like, you don't want for the viewership, the elbow bobs, because it does happen just naturally. It does just happen, where it's just a little bit of an elbow bob, but both athletes are they're in the match. They're both fighting, and it just kind of happens. And it's like, you don't want it to quit because that guy didn't get an advantage. But
this is the thing. I think for me personally, intellectually talking about it, just get rid of the advantage thing. Just say, look, elbow hops of an inch or less, we're not going to call.
Sure.
Regardless of whether or not we think so, because now there's no way for you to know whether or not somebody gained advantage. So just say you're not going to call them and let that be that.
Yeah.
Right. Why add all this mumbo jumbo of speculation and subjectivity and interpretation to the rules when you don't have to? Just say you're not going to call bobbles no matter what.
Well, okay. So because
the bobble you call right now, because you think somebody gained advantage, is the same bobble you're not going to call later because you didn't think someone gained advantage. Referees shouldn't be thinking about these calls like that.
So let me ask you this then. What is your thought on the hand getting close first? How much have you thought about that? What do you think about that? Because I can tell you for a fact, I would much prefer, I don't care about the buckle. Like, that's a conversation that's been going on forever, what side the buckle's on. But the hand getting close first, I can say that I sure as shit like my hand getting closed before the other person. What do you say about that?
So on the closed hand thing is that you are taking the gamble on a traditional rule set. You are taking the gamble of receiving that first foul.
Yep.
To get your hand closed first the next time in the hopes that you won't foul again. By the slide, and that's under a traditional rule set, right? But here's the thing with something like flash pin or EVW rules, right? I don't like that my hand didn't get closed first, right? So let's say I'm gonna foul.
100%. It's almost 100%. If you go back and watch
I fouled egregiously enough that I gained advantage and I got a foul. Now my hand's getting closed first. Boom. I like it. I'm in a war. I get a little bobble, but the interpretation of the ref is I didn't gain advantage when it should have been a foul. Second foul, loss.
Sure.
Now I'm still in the game, right? I don't know.
But what do you think?
Rules guy.
Do you think that there's an advantage with getting your hand closed first in a referee's grip?
I think there is an advantage, but the problem is that if you intentionally foul to get your hand to be closed again, you're gambling now.
Sure.
Under these other rule sets, I could foul again according in a traditional rule set, but because the rule set is different that allows bobbles or micro fouls or whatever like that, there's a chance I might not get that call.
Yeah, but it's like you said, why not just lift your arm way off the pad to get that foul. And like for instance, this last Aries event, the Super 64, it's running on 3 fouls. So you get 3 fouls.
Sure.
You know, and that's I believe, yeah, it's a
which you can burn a couple. Yeah. I mean, but as long as you know that, but it's a strict rule set, right? There's no bobbles there. So if you burn too much and you're a guy that can't keep his elbow on the pad, well, you're like pissing in the wind. You need those extra chances. You don't have the opportunity to burn them.
Okay, so how about this? From an entertainment perspective and putting on a live show,
yeah.
How do you think that vibes? I'll say it that way. Because it's just becoming so very clear that this is what's happening. But
here's the thing. I have a different perspective over these live show things.
Okay.
Right? Is that nobody outside of arm wrestling is watching these things. Nobody's sitting down. No average person.
My grandma tells me that these things take too damn long when she's trying to watch me. So I got one person.
Who?
So my grandma tells me these things take too
Why is she watching it?
Huh? She's watching.
Why is she watching it? Exactly.
My dad also my dad.
She has a direct connection to it.
Bar.
But if I walk 5 houses down, from down my street and ask them if they've ever watched arm wrestling on TV, the answer is going to be no. Nobody's sitting down on their couch on the weekend to tune in to ESPN and watch arm wrestling or buy $19 pay-per-view. It's entertainment for us.
Okay, let me stop you there. Are you asking them, do you watch arm wrestling actively? And have you ever watched arm wrestling? And why don't you watch it anymore? Why
would I ask that?
Well, I'm just saying.
I'm only asking. I'm not actively trying to get the person into arm wrestling, so I wouldn't even ask those other questions. I'm simply saying the average American is not sitting down to buy a $19 pay-per-view arm wrestling event. They're not even watching arm wrestling. Like, it's not even on their radar.
But
this is pure entertainment for us arm wrestlers and people close enough to the sport. Period.
Oh, dude. I mean, I can argue that all day long.
You can argue it all you want to.
I can argue that all day long.
I can argue to the wall right now,
well, we just have this little big thing called Devin Larratt, and people watch him just to watch him. Just
people
they
watch
don't even
him
know what's going on because he's a psycho.
All right, guys. I'm fixing to cut out. I gotta get out. We'll holler at y'all later.
Thanks for joining me, boy.
Yes, sir. Keep it up, Billy. Just keep doing it, man. Just keep doing your thing.
We're working on it. So I'll argue this to the end of the day. East versus West is absolutely 100% needed. Period. Hands down. I'll never argue that. But in the chronological line of things, they're 20 years ahead of where arm wrestling needs to be.
They're 20 years ahead of where it needs to be.
Ahead. Like, we're not – look, if anybody thinks that they're growing arm wrestling from the top down, I'll call them a lunatic.
Okay. Yeah.
It's plain and simple.
No, I'm with you.
Plain and simple. Arm wrestling will grow, and it only will grow from the ground up. You can get as many fans as you want. I mean, at the end of the day, look, why do you think that these events are having such trouble? If you broke up with the financial books of EVW, WSA, and all this kind of stuff, it would tell you that they are not where they expected to be as far as where, number of pay-per-view sales are. Don't get me wrong, they're good. But for what the event takes to run and all this other kind of stuff, but they keep thinking that they're going to draw in all these millions of people to watch this stuff. And in reality, it's just going to be us. Our people outside, yes, I'm not saying nobody's watching it. I'm not making that argument.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, right now, this is entertainment for us.
Okay.
We are the consumer.
So if you do have one person out of the 350 million people in America, and then all the Europeans that love arm wrestling as well, because there is a big.
We're not talking about Europe. Well, you want to talk about Europe? We're talking about a totally different thing, because they have grassroots, right? They have the culture and the system that we need here in the U.S.
No, I'm just talking about viewership. Like there's what
a lot more arm wrestlers in Europe.
Yeah, but I memean, they're watching EVW, but you're saying that on paper, EVW is probably not doing what their projections or what they predict. Projections.
They're not 100%.
There's a lot of things you could deduce that down to, other than the fact that people don't watch arm wrestling other than arm wrestlers.
But that's the product, right? The product is we're producing a show for people to watch, and people aren't watching it.
But if I tune into EVW as somebody that isn't an arm wrestler, but I'm looking to get into it, because you have to get into it somehow, and the audio is not working on the microphone, and we're just standing there looking at Neil Pickup, not talking into a microphone that doesn't work. I'm like, and then beyond that, there's no microphones on the athletes while they're pulling. You can't hear what's going on there. And then the officiating is like, I don't know what I'm doing as a head ref, and I don't know what I'm doing as the down ref. What do we do? Okay, let's go to the third camera. I'm probably going to be like, well, they ain't got their shit together. I don't even know what I'm watching.
I mean, look, even if all these productions ran a flawless thing, I think the end result is still the same.
Which is, what's the end result?
Arm wrestling, especially in North America, is, it's not a sport. And look, we can go deeper down this rabbit hole if you want to, but at the end of the day, there are ways to make arm wrestling mainstream, but everybody wants to do something completely different, right? People don't want to, and this is Frank's talking about, I'm going to put this comment up. Hot takes. The one thing I say all the time is that arm wrestlers want to be mainstream, but they don't want to do mainstream stuff, right? So we had a conversation the other day. There was a conversation in the community about spectator fees. Well, why would I, charge my wife and my kids and all that kind of stuff? Look, me and my wife, when my son plays church baseball, we pay $4 every time we walk in, and that's after we bought the uniform, we paid the registration, we've done all that stuff. Every game we go to watch him play, we pay $4, right? Why is it so crazy that if you go to watch me arm wrestle at an event, then maybe my wife has to pay $5 at the door?
What game are you talking about?
Any game.
A baseball game? Because they have
any
a field.
Game.
They have a field.
If you have a high school student play, right? In high school, you think the parents aren't paying an admission fee to get into the game? Most time they are.
Yeah, well, the reason for that is because they have a field. You and I have talked about this. We've talked about this personally.
Because they have overhead, right?
They have a field. They have a field.
They have overhead.
Home day.
They have to maintain these things. They have to do these things, right? Arm wrestlers want payouts. They want better awards. They want all this other kind of stuff. But yet, they just think that the money just grows on trees. That the sponsorships are just all that great, which we have some very awesome sponsors. So it's not a dig at them. But at the end of the day, it's not like thousands of dollars are rolling into the sport for promoters on a daily basis.
Yeah. I hear you.
So I've been listening, and one thing I will say, having worked obviously with EVW, over 80% of
you don't even say hi. You just come in and you just
sorry, my bad. Hi. But so I don't know if you know the number figures, but 80+% of all EVW pay-per-view sales come from North America. 80+%. So you were talking about the European market. Mm-hmm. The European market doesn't buy. India does.
What do they do? They produce athletes.
Yeah. Okay.
They have athletes. They have a grassroots.
And American people are buying European athletes.
But the thing is, they're not buying they're not buying the European athletes. That's where you're wrong. They're not.
What do you mean?
So
Why are they?
None of these, the 80% come from arm wrestlers. The 100% of all sales come from arm wrestlers.
I know, but they're buying into like usually a majority European card. That's
Not
what I'm
necessarily.
saying. Like so
this card at the Shaw Classic will be the tell-all because it has Devin on the card.
Well, no, England took a shit all over it, so I don't look at it that way.
It won't affect the people that love Devin.
I mean, I'm going to watch it, but I mean, it's definitely affected how much I'm paying attention to what's going on because it's annoying and it's drama.
Sure.
Don't really.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course.
I care about arm wrestling because I'm an arm wrestler.
Yeah,
and that's what
but what I was saying is like it's none of these companies, WSA, EVW, KOT, none of them are profitable. They're not generating a cent of profit.
Well, have they produced quarterly reports or annual reports? Because I'd like to see those numbers.
Though they're not, and they're not going to.
Why do you suppose?
Well, here's the thing, though. It's like when you talk about profits, it's like, are they breaking even? Like, are they making out ahead a couple thousand or a few thousand, or maybe 10,000 each event? Maybe. But on a scale of things, that's like me coming out of an event making $1,000, right? I've got to roll that into the next event, and that's not a very good startup.
Profits aren't like this is unfortunately not a profitable based sport. Like to give you an example, like the WSA was on ESPN2 the other day. Well, it was on ESPN 8 the Ocho that was streamed on ESPN2. It was in a worse time slot than goat racing. So they put goat racing ahead, like in a better time slot than arm wrestling.
Okay.
Watch on ESPN2.
It's like 6:30 in the morning, right?
6:30 in the morning Eastern, so 4:30, so 3:30 in the morning Pacific. But I'm saying though, that kind of tells you a lot. Like if you look at the way things are placed within networks on TV at X, Y, and Z, it was after goat racing and like throwing rubber darts trying to stick them on another rubber dart.
I saw that. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that tells you. I mean, it tells you a lot.
Yeah, well, that's
like
assuming that the officiating's good. That's assuming that the production's good. That's assuming that the hosting is good. That's assuming that the announcer is good, that the matchmaking was good. That's assuming that everything went perfectly with arm wrestling. And it just so happens that arm wrestling sucks and it just fell behind goat racing. Like that's, I mean, I'm not going to accept that. It's just.
Well, look.
Trust me, I love it too, but.
It's not that I love it. I just know that there's a lot of things that we can do internally to make it better. And I'm not saying that anybody's doing it bad.
No, it can always be better.
No, I don't think anybody's saying that like these bigger promotions are falling short in one way or another. There's different things that they could do, what routes they could go. 100%.
I don't think anybody's falling short. Right? It just like
talked about
and not like shit on arm wrestling as a sport by saying
I'm not shitting on it. I'm saying that the reason
it's not popular.
It's placed, exactly. It's not. I mean,
not yet.
At this point in time,
there we go. There's the optimism.
See, but here's the thing, right? Here's the thing, and this is what I go back to, right? Is that you have to have a base for something to be popular, right? Sure. When we go to airs and we say, "Look, we've only how many people are in the United States again?" I think it was like 350 something million.
Yeah.
4,000 active arm wrestlers.
Depends on what number you're counting. The census or
active.
Yeah, but it's
what I mean by that is active in the sense that other people would see them doing it. Right? Because it's all about exposure, right? It's about getting it out there. In 350 million in a sea of people, only 4,000 people are doing something. You don't even see that.
No. Because it's one of those things, like, can everybody do it? Theoretically, yes. But it's a lot easier to throw a beanbag at a board than go to the gym and spend hours destroying your arms. You can have your boys over on a Friday night and a Saturday night, have a 6-pack or a 12-pack or an 18-pack and throw a beanbag. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
when somebody says, I saw somebody say it earlier. Where is it? Basically, just that when they talk to somebody about arm wrestling Desiree, I think, said it when she
the sponsors,
and She's like, oh, I didn't even know that that was a thing.
Yeah.
My question would be, especially to the community, what's your answer?
So Billy, what was it, 2 years ago now? Not this year, but last year. Billy, we were contacted by Blender Bottle
Oh
for
yeah.
the CrossFit Games, and myself, Danny, and Anthony went to the CrossFit Games and spent 3 hours arm wrestling at the Blender Bottle booth. Now, mind you, we arm wrestled 400 plus people that day. Like there was a literal line through the expo area that we arm wrestled for, like, I want to say almost 4 hours. Now, we had it was the most popular booth that day. Nothing touched it. But here's the thing: like, people were coming up. They're like, "Oh, we didn't know this was a real sport. Like, we thought it was just something you do in bars." Like nobody was nobody. That's the thing. It's still perceived.
Where I started, I
Yeah,
started
it's still
at a bar. I started at my dad's bar.
Right.
Yeah, but that's my point. Like, it's still perceived as a bar room thing where two drunk guys put their arm on the table and push each other, and that's it. And it's an unfortunate perception because, like, and that's the positive thing I will say about this event coming up next Friday is bringing the strongman community into it is going to have some carryover. It just is. I mean, for God's sakes, Brian Shaw has more Instagram, has more followers than Devin does, so it can't not be beneficial. So same with Eddie Hall, Martins Lisi's. I mean, having Martins just pull the UAL event was a great thing.
Yeah.
So
look, crossover is always great. It's always going to be, no matter what status your sport is in, a crossover is always going to be good. It's always going to put new eyes on it, everything like that.
Yeah, if you can gain 1%, if you can gain 1% of those people that are watching because they crossover, you're doing something.
But it was 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I did like 5 expos. Like 5 in a year, right? Did a lot of traveling. Arm wrestle, thousands of people, right? Through the course of the day. So far, to my knowledge, we gained 1 arm wrestler out of all those expos.
And how many people is that one arm wrestler going to bring into arm wrestling? Well, you brought up cornhole, Nate. Do you know how that started?
No, I know, but I know they're talking about it becoming. Well, I mean, they have crazy sponsors now because it's just easy to throw a name on a board.
I mean, so cornhole, technically speaking, is about.
Well, it's derived from horseshoes.
It's about 500 years older, and it started out with kids in the 15th century in Germany throwing rocks into a dirt hole.
Yeah, it's kind of like the same way with horseshoes.
Yeah, it's like arm wrestling is really not that old of a sport. It's
well, I mean, there's signs of like the Egyptians arm wrestling and stuff like that.
Yeah, that one's interesting, but it's debated. But if that's actually
look, at the end of the day, my contention is this. This is my whole argument: is that we need more arm wrestlers. Everything will grow from having more arm wrestlers.
What was the air statistic that Corey just put out? What was it like? The average tournament has like 50 people, 57 people at it.
That's across all tournaments. Is that there's only an average of that, competing. And so, like, even if you take that out of the 4,000 on average active arm wrestlers that we have, the average arm wrestler is there's only 55 of them.
Yeah, 55, 57, whatever it was that show up on an average event.
Yeah, one of the things I'd like to see is how many promoters there are comparatively from, let's say, you just started 2010 to now.
They could tell you that.
How many? Because that statistic is a good statistic, and we should look at it, and it's interesting because that's how you get better, diversify, and get better at things. But how many promoters are there?
So
a lot.
Todd 3, pickleball took up. So there, I mean,
it's based off tennis, right? Like,
yeah, but I think there was this weird so we have a niche sport, right? And I think there was like a subgroup of niche sports that really took off: cornhole, pickleball, like whatever that thing is where you throw that little suction cup thing.
The suction dart, yeah.
Yeah, whatever it is. But I mean, like, I think there was like the subcategory of these little sports that really
slap
just
fighting.
Come here, please.
Well,
meme,
look, slap
the
fighting.
arm wrestling meme.
Slap fighting right now is 100% violence.
Yep.
Violence sells, and that's why people watch it.
Yep.
Period.
Yeah, and it's not going to change either.
I mean, as anybody, I would love watching somebody else get the shit slapped out of them rather than getting myself slapped. So, you know,
I mean,
Yeah,
look
that's a
at
good time.
you have arm wrestlers doing the crossover now from arm wrestling to
yeah,
slap
and you can
fighting.
see how popular that was. Like,
There's actually the alternative too. You have a crossover from slap fighters and arm wrestling too. So
Okay, don't even act like that thing that Magna put on there wasn't the biggest crock of shit ever.
I mean, I think slap fighting just in general is a crock of shit, but people probably say that about arm wrestling too. So I just typically keep my opinions to myself until I say it out on a podcast. But no, I don't know. I think arm wrestling's in a great place. I'm sure everybody. I think we all do.
No, it's in a great look. Don't take any of my comments as like trying to be negative.
I don't.
I think about this long and hard, right?
And logically, as a promoter,
I try to, and
one of
as realistic as possible.
If not the most established promoter in the United States when it comes to our level of arm wrestling. So I know where you're coming from. I don't think that you're being negative about it. I'm just talking to you about it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's a good conversation. We got a lot of things internally that we can do. That's what I'm focused on. So like just to come full circle, that closing the hand thing, closing the hand first. I just haven't heard it get talked about too terribly much. On who gets their hand closed first on a ref script, because I think people are I think it's becoming a little bit of a trend where the ref script is becoming preferred. Especially there's a lot of old souls and arm wrestling that have been doing it for a long time, where they want to sit there, but they want to sit there and they want to grip as hard as they can and throw each other to the other side and have this like pre-arm wrestling match before the match even starts. Because sometimes these guys have really strong hands and they'll just take that dude's hand and jerk him around a little bit and wear him out. Like everything counts on that table. Everything counts on that table. And I think it's starting to trend, in favor of the referee's grip becoming a thing. And so my brain is going, well, that, the person that gets their hand closed first it seems like that's, like you said, strategy.
But how do you, look, there's only so much you can negate in all this, right?
Sure.
So the only alternative to go into whose hands get closed first is a set grip, which that introduces a whole nother set of issues. The close your thumbs, close your hands, where both guys close their hand at the same time.
That's one of the things. I think that is a possible solution. I appreciate that. I love this sport.
All lies.
That is a solution, but it's like one of those solutions that's like really hard to implement, especially for somebody that's the president of the TAL, to implement something, because you're completely changing everything.
Well, going to this close your thumbs, close your hand wall stuff just doesn't work, because you're literally going to have.
Well, you have to accept a certain amount of like play.
No, there's going to be a lot of play.
Yeah, but you have to allow it. Like you have to accept it, because there's no way. Yeah, both guys are going to close their hands at the same time without getting some wrist flexion or
exactly.
Let me ask you this question: why do you alternate anyways? So
why?
Yes, why
because
who gets their hand closed?
So for me, I always close. This is just me. I have a set way I do things. I close one hand, and I know which one I close first. I'm not going to say it, because then people are like, oh, I know he's always going to close me first, so I'm going to get to that side of the table. Yeah. So, but
if you always get closed first for that round in a referee's grip, if you guys elbow foul,
then I close the next person. Even if there's a warning, it's not a foul. It doesn't any infraction whatsoever means. So if I'm closing, let's say I close
start.
Yeah, anything. So let's say you're doing it on warning based, right? Let's use EVW rule set for example.
Sure.
If it should be, and okay, let's say, oh, I'm pulling you, right? They close me first. I make an infraction. It's a warning. Now they close you. You make a warning. Now they close me. So every infraction, if you're running a warning based system, every warning is the other hand should be closed first.
But what's the point is what I'm
It's
asking.
because then you're not showing favoritism to certain individuals. If you close one athlete first every single time, then you are showing favoritism to that athlete and a bias. So then you are giving that athlete the advantage every single time. It'd be the same way as like a person's carving in and you're not calling it.
Yep.
I think Drayton's point is he's trying to make the case that you're giving the guy that's not getting closed first that fouls the advantage by closing him because he intentionally fouled or got a warning.
Yeah, but it's just the rules. That's the way the rules are written, right?
That's what he's asking. Why?
That's what I'm asking you. So
here's an
alternative. Here's an alternative thought.
Okay.
Here's an alternative thought. If you, instead of doing it every single time that an infraction happens, you change the grip, because it's very clear that there's just intentional infractions just to get the hand closed first.
100%.
If you say that here's where the ref grip starts. We're starting with whoever wins the coin flip at the beginning of the match that decides which side of the table that they want to be on. That person also gets that, or the other person gets that. I would say the person that wins the coin flip they get their hand closed first. That's how it is for the round. If you look at Todd Hutchings' videos that he's been doing recently on the complete statistics of a match, it becomes a really interesting conversation.
It's the same thing as when Todd brought up the statistic that the buckle made no difference. And in reality, the buckle makes a difference in EVW, especially since you're the one that gets to dictate the tightness of the buckle.
The percentages are slim, but you're right.
Yes.
They're very slim.
For me, if I know somebody's has to have a tight strap to protect their hand, I'm going to be like, I want the buckle because I'm going to blow your hand up the first round with a loose strap.
Sure. And that could be another discussion. But as far as closing the hand first, I'm just why
the thing is
change it, because it just creates more, obviously.
Yeah, but then it creates a bias for that round. Like there is a bias for every round.
But if you determine it in a coin flip, that's not a bias. He won the coin flip.
It's still giving an advantage to a person, especially if they're a person. Let's say they're a person that likes to really squeeze in the grip, right? If I know that you're a person that wants to squeeze hard, which then can cause wrist flexion. If I don't load with you, I'm going to no load you, and as soon as you squeeze every time, you're going to foul out.
Yeah, I think ultimately what it does is it brings down the amount of infractions that will happen overall. While I think that there's a version of favoritism on the person getting the hand closed first, there's an alternative strategy to that match that will bring down the amount of intentional infractions that just take so much time. They take so much time where it's like, this person won the coin flip. They get their hand closed first. The next round, you get your hand closed first. Let's say you both get your hand closed first, and you're stronger when you get your hand closed first.
So you're saying that.
What's that?
So you're saying that person gets their hands closed. Like if you do a coin flip.
Yeah, until
coin flip and I win.
The point, that person gets their hand
closed. Until a whole nother new round, I'm going to get my hand closed first no matter what.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying if every single infraction you would alternate it, then the same thing would apply here, except there would just be less infractions.
I mean, it comes down to the same thing.
You stop relying on getting your hand close first to get a win. You just get stronger, which is ultimately what we want for arm wrestling.
But it comes down to the same thing as saying, "Oh, I know if I get in the strap with somebody, they're not going to be able to beat me because I know how to pull in the strap better."
You just get better in a strap, like as a competitor.
There's been people that pulled 30+ years and they're not good in the strap.
Well, I'm sorry. I don't know what to say to that person. I'm sorry. Okay,
so then that might work. So the coin flip thing might work in it, but I mean, it's not really feasible to flip a coin for,
side of the 600 table
matches at Texas State,
Well, I'm just saying, like, in a super match version, like, I'm not saying like your side of the table, but I'm just saying like you could do that one and the same. But ultimately, when a ref grip happens, coin flip.
It kind of. You're essentially going to flip the coin for the side of the table, and then you have to flip a coin again. So now your referee has to remember their side of the table, and they have to remember who they're starting with in a ref script every round with it. So you're putting a lot more on the referee and less on the puller.
No, I don't think so. I think you're wrong about that. I think what it does is it discourages putting more on the referee by creating intentional infractions every single time they don't get their hands.
But that's part of the game. That's part of strategy.
It is right now,
but it's always been that way. Why would you take strategy out of it? It's not going to speed up the pace of play any.
I mean, I think that's why it's trending more towards ref grips in the first place.
Well, like I said, East versus what?
There's a lot of people that say they want to grip up with each other, and then they want to see like if they can come to an agreement on who's got the best grip, as if that's ever going to happen with a couple of competitive arm wrestlers.
Yeah, there's two things there's two things from like one from Mac, one from EVW that I absolutely love. EVW stating if you ever once you go to a ref grip, every match therefore after is in a ref grip, I think is genius. Right?
Strap too as well, right?
And Mac states that anytime that if you slip once, you're going to strap, which I think is smart too, because now you're speeding up pace there. If you just implement those two things, you can implement it even in freaking tournament arm wrestling. Obviously, it's not going to work in tournament. It has to be super match based, right? They do have the Jason Vale strap tournament where everything's in strap. They also have, I think there's another one that's a ref grip only tournament. But even if you implement those two things into a super match thing, it's going to speed things up because now there's no screwing around. Like, okay, you guys had your chance to get your grip. Now the ref's setting the grip. You slipped on that grip. Now we're going to a strap every round. So now every round strap. Now every round therefore is a strap and a ref grip.
Yep.
You're already speeding things up. So you're taking a lot of crap out by not allowing it, and you're speeding up your card exponentially. And then the ref can do his normal ref grip. And if there's an infraction, then there's an infraction. So you start over.
And then the next infraction becomes an intentional elbow foul.
Yeah, so now you're in a ref grip, so everything's there. If you're doing fouls only, well, now you know there's no warnings. You're screwed. If you're doing the 2 warning system, well, it doesn't take much to get 2 warnings if you're still strict on your warnings.
My thought is not only to reduce the amount of infractions that happen intentionally, and also create a more streamlined live event or pay-per-view event or whatever it is. It's also for just to disincentivize that person, the pullers, to rely on them getting their hand closed first.
So I will say this, right? Everybody talked so much shit on Top 8. Oh, it's strict rules, blah, 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 on Top 8. When the PAL, when Igor Mazarenko was doing the PAL thing, everybody talks shit on it. Oh, it takes two. Matches ending on fouls. Stop allowing the bobbles and the warnings. Make everything strict rules. Your stuff's going to go faster. People are going to learn to pull under strict rules again. You go to. Why do you? Okay, here's the best example I can give. When Alan Fisher, I think it was early '90s, went to WAF Worlds his first time. Alan Fisher got fouled out every single time. Why? Because Alan's used to pulling under lax rules where you had a little elbow bobble, it wasn't called, and yada, yada, yada. Alan goes to World, gets killed. Why? Because lax rules. Like, most of these people wanting these lax rules don't pull super matches under lax rules. Like, they pull tournaments under strict rules. Mm-hmm. So why change?
One of the things I can't stand is an organization creating a lax rule set and then listening to pullers the whole event, call elbow fouls, argue with the refs about not calling fouls. I'm like, these are the rules, right?
I personally love top 8 because it was the speed was good. You had a minute and a half between rounds. You either got to the table or you got a warning. It was that simple. You made a fraction, you fouled or got a warning. 2 fouls was lost, just like you would in tournament, just like it would be at WAF Worlds or EFA Worlds. Why did we go away from it? Oh, because we wanted to be more viewer friendly. 7-hour pay-per-views are not viewer friendly. I'm sorry. They're not.
Yeah, my goal is to take the amount of how much the ref has a say and what happens in a strength sport. I'm trying to take that away as much as possible.
So,
it's always going to be there and it's always going to play a part. But ultimately, it should be up to the athletes, and that's what everybody wants to see.
So just do freedom arm wrestling then. Take the ref completely out of it. Both people agree on a grip, and you pull. Just don't even have a ref then.
I mean, that's okay, but at the same, like, that's weird and goofy.
Well, you said you want to take the rule set. But you said you want to take the
only way
out.
to technically achieve your goal is to go 100% strict rules, but eliminate the act of intentionally doing something to change the direction of the match.
But then again, it's the ref's discretion on whether he was intentionally doing it or not.
Well, no, because
you take out. You make it.
It's not whether or not it was intentional. Whether it was intentional or an accident. It was still an infraction.
Sure.
So it's irrelevant whether or not I did that on purpose or I did it trying to get to the match early. It was still a foul. Now all of a sudden, So if you, I guess under your premise there, Trayton, is just get rid of the fouls, gain the other person an advantage, but strict rules is the way to go.
Ultimately, I'm just saying stop alternating closing the other person's hand first. And however we get there, despite there's plenty of ways that you can go about doing that, but the other person when you alternate who gets their hand closed first on a ref's grip, especially in a arm wrestling world that's trending towards a preferred ref's grip. That's my opinion. I don't have any analytics to back that up, but it looks that way. That I feel that portion should stop. So just
the sports, look, as long as you have any sport, players in sports are going to adapt and they're going to stretch the limits, right? So like we're taking arm wrestling, right? Instead of arm wrestlers developing a strong hand, right? Now we have arm wrestlers that just say, oh, the heck with their hand. I'm going to run away. I'm going to get to a strap and now I'm going to make my arm strong and I don't need a hand anymore.
Right.
Like, so it doesn't matter what you do. We could change the rules up, I think, in a sense, in 100 different ways. There's always going to be an arm wrestler that's going to find a way to exploit what can I do better here? What can I do better there?
But how do you so what you said a little bit ago is one of the things that you hate is that when you have one of these like free setups in an arm wrestling tournament, you hate seeing the arm wrestlers come in there and just, for lack of a better term, bitching about the reffing when you signed up for these rules.
Yeah. So let's just talk East versus West right now. If you watch 100% of the Europeans, they are 100% strict rules compliant, right? Because that's what they've grown up in.
Yeah.
They know what the EVW rules are. They know that baubles are forgiven. They know that these certain things are these warnings and stuff like that. They know the rules, but it's strict rules is so ingrained in their being that the whole time the match is going on, they're trying to call out, oh, this guy carved and, he's rising and, wrist, when the promotion itself is laxing on these things to get, in what their mind is to get the matches going, make them last longer, what have you, for entertainment purposes.
I mean, I guess I think on the basis of what you're talking about, I would kind of disagree with at least the Europeans that I've saw, or even Georgia as far as that goes. On their, I think that their ability to cheat the setup is a lot cleaner than the Americans. Also,
so I've had the pleasure of gripping up with him, right? A lot of them, and I did when I was in Turkey. There's not a whole lot of cheating the setup. I can tell you that.
in competition, because I mean,
like
I've watched a lot of it.
just asking them to show me what they do. Like, okay, what do you do in the strap? They're like, I do this. They like Egan. So I gripped up with the Egan in the strap. Egan does nothing special in the strap. He wants a fair strap. He wants a fair setup.
I mean, but why would he try to cheat the strap with you?
You're missing.
We're not pulling.
I'm talking to them about their strategy within certain
give
things.
Me some tips.
I mean, well, how many arm wrestlers actually give real tips? One of the biggest complaints about Devin is he doesn't actually talk about what he actually does.
If you get Devin in a one-on-one scenario, Devin will.
For sure.
Yes.
He
will talk to you.
I know a lot of people that think that he doesn't say anything and have.
Yeah, he will fucking lie through his teeth about not training and stuff. But I've had the pleasure of being with Devin on multiple occasions, and there's things he will show you if you're in a one-on-one scenario.
Right. And a lot of those things that he's showing you apply to a human being that is,
yes.
What is he, 6'5"?
6'5". Yeah. But what I'm saying is, a lot of the Europeans, it may seem like they're jobbing, I guess we'll use the word, the setup. Dude, they don't, because at WAF Worlds, it's so goddamn strict that if you even move a finger that much, you're getting fouled.
Mm-hmm.
Literal. So they're great to get up there. Like, let's use Fia and Ellen, or Fia and Fia's last match with Malin.
Yeah, the girl that lives right down the street from her that she practices with.
That's a case. You're talking about the Malin match, or you talking about the last one she had with that?
You can go either one of them. You can go with either one of them. Their match all around took about 3 minutes. The setups were instant. There was no screwing around. The knuckles were showing. The wrists were straight. It was don't move, go.
But they literally practice together.
I understand that. But I'm saying though, but you would think, you're saying that, right? So they know what each other's going to do. But you would think in a competition setting that they would still be trying to do something to the other, but they're not. They're literally setting up as fair as possible.
Or they know how the other one pulls.
But I'm saying, you could take Unger, all right, let's use it for Irakli's pretty easy to set up. Irakli's always there, knuckle showing, ready to go. Unger Bayev, same way. Billy's right. It's the North Americans that are always trying to work the setup to gain some type of advantage in the setup.
Oh, so Irakli's not fully pronated in his setup, and he doesn't intentionally rise.
He's doing, but here's the kicker. He's doing what the referees will allow, because under the rule set, the rules are lax. You take him to a place where the rule set is strict, and that stuff goes away.
I mean, I was just talking about it, but Todd Hutchings literally just did a stat video on Irakli. And he made it pretty clear cut about the things that he does, because he was calling Todd out for his elbow hops, which he was right about. They were both right about it. And Todd got away with it and won the match.
Well, because that's the rule. That's the rule set, right?
Yes.
That's the EVW rule. That's kind of the point I was saying, is it's a little frustrating. And we're talking about viewership, like the entertainment aspect of it, is knowing that the EVW rules are lax with elbow hops and these different things, but yet watching pullers, call out random elbow hops and stuff like that under the rules aren't going to be called. It just, I don't know. It's
a double negative, essentially what it is. Like you're doing a loose rule set, but you have people calling out fouls that aren't being called unless they're egregious.
Yeah, it's a big discussion. Things have been
it is
going the way that they have been for a long time, and they constantly change.
To me, the best rule set is a hybrid. So you take something from EVW. I'm taking something from the original KOT rules, and I'm taking something from MAC. I'm going 3 foul system, from original KOT. Strict rules. So movement, everything, ref grip, no elbow bobbles, none of that crap. That's a foul. I'm taking the automatic ref grip. If it ever goes to a ref grip, stays in ref grip. And if it ever slips, stays in straps. I'm combining those three, and it will increase your speed, and you're still gonna have good matches because there's more fouls to play.
Sure. Yeah, I mean definitely a discussion that could go on and continues to go on, and I think that it should. I think that it should continue to get talked about because
we haven't found it yet.
Well, the thing is, like you're talking about taking the referees out of a match. How do you take a referee out of the match? You don't make it a subjective call. Well, I don't think it was an advantage gain that his elbow came up a half inch as his opponent was surging.
Yeah,
I don't
I'm
think it was
discontinuing the elbow completely. I'm just talking about like the elbow plays a part. It plays a huge part.
But I'm saying that's a subjective call. It's a
intentionally
subjective call. So, but here's the thing, though, right? Having been to multiple events with multiple different head referees for these, each one of those referees from every country that has participated that I've been to calls that foul differently.
Yeah.
Every one of them. There's no consistency in what they feel as is defined as no advantage gain. So that's why it makes it absolutely 100%, in my opinion, terrible, because you can never be. Well, this ref said, well, I just pulled with this guy on the last event and he said it was an advantage gain. Why do you say it's an advantage gain?
Sure.
I think that's why the strict rules are written the way they are, is that it tries to take out so much.
Takes out questions,
variables,
yeah,
interpretations, and stuff like that. But
yeah. Like I said, people bashed on the PAL, but I mean, there were some amazing match. Vitaly Levon was an amazing match in PAL. Kurdecha Ungerbayev, one of the greatest matches you can watch in PAL. Like, all under strict rules. Yeah. So does strict rules really make it boring?
It's clear that we haven't found the combination yet. Like, it's getting there.
Yeah, it's getting there, and and what'll happen too is that arm wrestlers will gravitate towards, a rule set and officiants, because officiants play so big of a part. Arm wrestlers will gravitate towards that and the places that they decide to pull. And so, there's something to be said from that angle.
Yeah,
as well.
like if you were to say give pullers advice, right? My advice to anybody would be, if you have aspirations to possibly go to a Worlds, whether it's WAF, whether it's IFA, you need to be training in practice and going to tournaments that improvise strict rule sets. Because it's not going to benefit you to go somewhere that's lax on rules. That way, when you do end up going to one of these things, that you foul out because you're not used to the rule set.
Yeah.
Because 99%, 99% of the tournaments you're going to pull in North America are going to be under strict rule sets. You're going to have the odd one here and there that aren't. So why would you practice anything else unless you have, like, okay, let's say you get offered a super match with Mac. Okay, start training under Mac rules. But then when you're done, go back to working your strict rules. It makes no sense to be like, oh, I'm going to start doing these rules because, I may have a super match. Well, you may. Like, I may win $1 million tomorrow. Like, so why would I worry about any other rule set than the one that I'm going to be competing under?
Yeah,
that makes sense.
And what's cool about that too is just like I'm looking right here, and man, it's just so cool to see all these teams like really popping up even more so. Midland, Odessa, Permian Arm Fighters. Is that new? Like,
that's Orlando's team.
It's always
Permian Basin. Yeah.
Okay, like that's seeing that pop up, seeing the West Texas specifically for me gets me pumped up, seeing all these guys coming in, more practices, more regular practices. Super pumped to see all that, getting all these people.
Yeah, I'm probably not gonna get anything done this week leading up to with prep for the event and everything like that. But after the event, I should have some time to sit down and compile that list. And I think everybody pretty much has. Huh?
So what's your plans there? What do you got going on with that list that you're compiling up?
No, just because there's always people that come up that go, oh, I live over here. Who's practicing over here?
Just send them. You can
more
send them a picture.
More of a visual way to be like, hey, here's all the teams we have in Texas. Here's where they're at.
Yep.
And if you're going to go to a particular place, like I'm going to travel somewhere, I can just look and be like, oh, well, Orlando's up at, in Odessa.
Yeah.
Mark Perez is up in West Texas, or.
Yeah, you can make it as a pinned message on the Texas Arm Wrestling League page. That way people aren't like, hey, where's my nearest team? It's a pinned message. It's right there. Here's your list of known established teams. There you go.
Yeah, I love that.
I mean, that's why I was kind of like going to where I said, hey, when you throw a few practices a month, that means you're pretty established. You're holding some sort of regular practices in which if somebody wants to attend, you're not a team that hasn't practiced in the last 6 months. Like, it's not that I don't want to highlight you, but when the objective is to feed people into an active team where they can hit practices on a regular basis and stuff. If you have a so-called team that's not practicing, well, that's really not of much benefit.
Yeah, it's like up in like the DFW area. We practice twice a week. We practice Wednesdays and Sundays. So
yeah,
I got a question for you guys. If you were to put a number on how long it should take for somebody to compete that just starts arm wrestling, how many practices or how long in terms of months or years before they compete for the first time?
I don't think you can put a number on it because people are going to be different, right? You're going to have people you're going to have some people that aren't super athletic, that it's going to take them longer for them to grasp the concept of the movements and everything else. And you're going to have some people that are just naturally gifted athletes that can catch on right away.
Yeah, that's yeah. What about you, Billy?
So when I started, it was kind of a little bit of a weird time. There wasn't TAL didn't exist, so there wasn't an already established set of events and stuff. So in 2019, I didn't compete for a year, and actually my first tournament was the TAL kickoff event, and I can say that I think that did me well.
Put a year in of training and learning.
I'm just saying for me, I think that did me well. But to like give that advice to somebody else, I think.
I mean, we could use Trey, like the guy that trains with us, right? The guy that just pulled Cullen. So his first event was Special Kids last year. So he hasn't even been pulling a year, and he's already making some good waves and in tournaments and matches.
I think it boils down to if you can pull safely and you have a general concept of arm wrestling, ergonomics and all that kind of stuff, then you should go out and start dabbling in competition.
And honestly, now too, with the ELO system, like what you're talking about doing at the events, it's actually going to be more beneficial for the new people that have no experience essentially to go to events because they'll be pulling like rated people.
Yeah.
So it's going to help them because I mean, like we could have, let's say hypothetically, we could have a guy show up tomorrow at practice that's just moves so well, but he's new, right? Like he's going to hurt for a while, but why would we discourage him from going to compete in an event if he's into it? It's also our jobs as referees to do our best to protect them as well. Right.
For sure.
So, and that's why, like, I don't know, like you've been to events where I talk to the amateurs directly, and I'm like, look, I tell them all, you can hate me, cuss me, do whatever, but I don't care. If I see you get close to a dangerous position, I will foul you because I want you to go home in one piece.
Yeah. What do you say to the people that are too afraid to go to their first event, even though they might be ready?
I just encourage it, right? You just encourage them. Like, look, you're going to be pulling people the same as yourself. Like, as long as you do what, let's say they've been practicing me for 3 months, with us, I'm gonna be like, as long as you do what we've shown you for these past 3 months, the likelihood that you're going to get catastrophically injured is very slim. Listen to the referees, keep yourself safe. You just essentially give them positive affirmation.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with Robert Hennigan on this one. That's kind of what I did too. came in hot, but the way that I felt about arm wrestling was like, damn, I found a thing that I really love.
Yeah, right. And
Yeah.
like I said, everybody's got like great example today, right? Like Big Laws and Martins. I don't know if you guys listen to their podcast with Brian Shaw. So Laws explained it perfectly. He goes, Martins is a naturally gifted athlete. He picks things up very instantly. It shows. He did very well at the UAL amateur, right? Did very well for somebody that's as new as he is. Big Laws has been pulling years, and it takes him longer because he doesn't have the learning curve that somebody like Martins does to pick things up as fast. So it's taken him longer to get to the spot. So each person's going to learn like their own. It's just like children, right? Kids learn at different paces.
Yeah, well, I mean, it also is like who you training with. That's it.
100%.
So almost at the same, like in the same breath, you could almost say that the officials, like you would almost want to encourage somebody to maybe pull in a tournament, like maybe sooner than later, because the officials are there to keep you safe, like you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. And like for me too, at practice, when we get new people, we don't really pin in practice. It's very rare that we're pinning each other in practice.
Yeah, it's very often, like not very often do you get those ready goes. Like it's different. It's different when you're at a venue.
No, I know. I'm saying though, it's easier to keep new people around. I found when you're not
tearing them down.
Yeah, you're not just ripping them to the pad, right? Like we just, like I said, in our practice, we can, we'll pin each other, like the established people, but like the new people, we don't do that to them. There's no sense. Why would we take a chance for them try to go into a bad spot when we could just hold them and work with them?
Yeah, well, arm wrestling's like, you come into it and a lot of people have a really heavy ego because typically they started at a bar or something like that and they might have beat somebody. Like last weekend, I was at Neil's bar and we played some cornhole, ironically, first. And then Neil told him, he said, he said, we played for money. And me and Neil won. And he said, if you can beat that guy, he pointed at me in arm wrestling, he said, I'll give you the bar. And he said, well, I've beat a D1 athlete. That's what he said. He said, he's like, I beat a D1 athlete, but he wasn't feeling too hot. But it was fun. But that's how we started. But it's an ego thing. It's
it
100%
is.
And so when you go into an arm wrestling practice, and for me, it was Ian Wagner that's just sitting there holding me on the table while I'm literally putting everything that I have into this. That's almost worse than him just crushing me, just sending me to the pad and going, you got a long ways to go, buddy. He did both. And I was lucky. I was lucky in that term to have the Greg Grays, the Dustins, the Ian Wagners of the world to kind of give me a variance of all that. But we've learned with a lot of people that have came through our doors, they don't get that. Every team trains differently, like you're talking about. And I think the way that you train is great. I think it's a very professional way.
Don't get me wrong. When we do it but there's times where like myself, Anthony, Robbie, Danny will just kill each other.
Sure.
Because we know we can.
You know each other.
We know, like we're the core four of our team, and like don't get me wrong, we beat the shit out of each other. But like when the new people come in, we don't. It doesn't do us any good. It doesn't help us by.
Yeah, some people need that though. Like I was one of those people. Some people need that, just like that slam into the pad to realize that you ain't shit. Yeah, and if you want to be and you want to be good, you're gonna have to practice and do more. So, anyway, it's just an alternative way of looking at it.
Sure. Faux show.
But anyway, Saturday.
Yeah. So I put the post out. Just due to the late time and stuff like that, we're gonna have to do early weigh-ins at the hotel.
6 to 9, right?
Yeah, it's right there. Same times, but it's right there next to the Harley Davidson.
La Quinta.
I'll probably get there around 3:00. They're gonna start clearing out the floor room, the display room, and stuff like that. So hopefully I can get over there, get some stuff set up. Be back over to the hotel.
There might be a Robbie and an Anthony there.
Oh, that would just make my heart so happy to see Robbie and Anthony there.
Awesome. That's cool. Yeah, and then just rinse and repeat like we have been. we'll start normal times, 9 to 11 on weigh-in Saturday at Harley. They're going to go out and get some snacks and some beverages and stuff like that. They're going to be passing out to everybody. And so that's going to be cool. I think she said she's also going to try to get some like swag bags and stuff like that together. But yeah, we'll have those 6 super matches.
As the brackets go, Billy, for the athletes pulling, is it just going to be kind of the same thing? Like you'll have the Sarahs that are announcing it, and here's who's going to be in what bracket, and or are we going to have? I gotta say, like, not everybody bought it real well, but that Super 64 having those TVs with those live brackets was pretty dope. I know you got to have a little extra equipment to do that and stuff like that.
So we are gonna this being the first time we are gonna attempt that. So
I'm gonna
have
warn
a
you.
TV.
I've been to events, and you're still like tournaments, not the 64. You're still gonna have people going, "Well, when am I up?"
Oh yeah, it happened at the Super 64.
Right there. It's gonna take time, like a year of getting people, used to that system and stuff like that. But we're gonna attempt it. I got some wireless transmitter from Robert. We got a TV, so at a minimum, we're gonna have registration up there. That way, we don't have to sit there and call out all the names and registration. People can just look at the screen.
Question: is this the first event you're doing the tiers?
Yes.
So how are you doing starting time? Is everything starting at the same time then? Because I know it used to be, the staggered times.
So no, it's still the staggered times. The only change is that we basically added a novice class.
No, I understand that, but I didn't know if you were going to start like everything together and run them like at 3 different tables, or you're going to run them at. You're still going to have like the early time for like the novice amateur, I guess we'll call it. Then the pros start at whatever.
Yep.
And
I mean, who knows? Well, this is the first event, so if we see some changes that we're going to need to make because of this, then we'll just make that moving forward. But,
yeah, like I said, I didn't know because I didn't know if that was discussed or not.
Yeah, no, I still have the staggered time. So if you're a tier 1 puller and you're a tier 1 puller, you still have that 2 to 3 range to come weigh in, and you don't have to be there until that time. So
yeah, like I said, I don't think we'd ever discussed that or anything like that. So I was just asking.
Super matches at noon. That Lucian. Super matches at noon.
I'm jumping off. Y'all have a good one.
All right, later.
So, yeah. Super matches at noon, weigh-ins from 6 to 9.
Yeah.
And
spending the week out at Grammy and Grandma and Grandpa's before school starts.
What is So I want to do picks real quick before we get off here.
Oh, okay.
Run me through them. You don't have to do it if you don't want to, but I just want to call them out.
What are we doing?
The super matches.
Oh, you want me to tell you what they are?
Yep. One more time. Sorry. Real quick.
One more time. All right. Starting off on the right hand, we've got Popeye versus Chad Shelby.
I'm going to take Shelby.
All right. Then we have David Platania.
Ian.
Versus Ian Wagner.
Taking
Ian.
Even after his hard loss to Shanks last week.
Pretty rough.
Yeah. He's in his own words, woke up.
Well, that's good.
Uh-huh.
That's good. Last right-hand match is Wade Carlson and Joel Birchfield.
I don't know on this one, so I'm going to have to go with Wade. Okay. Because I know Wade, and I know he's a experienced puller, so I don't know the other guy too well, so I'm going to take Wade on that.
Yeah. Left-handed, we got Les Flores and Jonathan Davis. Jonathan's made a big cut to this 198 because I think he used to pull, like, if I'm not mistaken, he was in the supers class for a while.
I'm going to take Les on this one because I like seeing him win. I like it when he wins. He's got a good charisma about him.
Yeah. Austin Jennings and Livingston.
That one's a fun one.
It is, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. This is left or right?
This is left hand. Left hand.
Okay, so it's the money hand. I am gonna go. I think Austin's got a lot of tools. I don't know if Livingston, because I saw their little history thing that they have where Austin went to.
Like everybody in the comments I'm going to put the comments up so they scroll, but they're
Bronco
giving their picks too.
If Livingston, I feel I'm going to take Livingston, and I'm just going to say that I hope that
an OG. All right.
But I'm only going to say that I think on paper Austin takes it, but I'm going to go against the odds here and give it to Livingston because I think he's gonna dad him because they have such a long relationship with each other.
That is true.
So
I think he's going to be a little intimidated.
Yeah, I think he has to here. He can't just let Austin win this thing. I mean, come on. I know Livingston's a competitor, so I'll go Livingston there. Gonna be fun.
The last one,
can't wait.
Brian Arrington and Billy Boo.
I'm taking my boy Brian. That's gonna be another fun one though.
Nice.
Is this the way that they're going? Is this how they're gonna fall as far as like?
I think so.
I guess we're running 2 tables, so
yeah,
it'll just fall where it falls, sort of a deal.
Nobody's really said they had a preference or anything like that, but so I think I don't see any reason why.
If I had it my way, I'd want to see Billy Boo and Arrington last as one of the closing matches, and probably either Jennings and Livingston or David and Ian. But I think Ian just smashes David, so probably have that one first. I can say all this.
You think having Ian's first?
Yeah, I think Ian just runs through him. I think he just hurts the little man, the little big man.
Yeah. I mean, the way it's set up right now, Brian and Billy would finish up the left hand. So
yeah, I think that one's going to be a banger. I think that one's going to.
I just went with like the heavier guys on the right hand as last. So
yeah, these are all really cool super matches just in general. Looking forward to it. And there it is.
Trying to get it where you can see it.
There's your IFBB arm wrestling pro card, right?
It's flipped right now, yeah. So, yeah, I'm going to be doing 8 of these. I'm going to be presenting them to the highest ELO people in attendance. Only 8 of them. So, if you don't get one, doesn't mean you're not going to. I'm just kind of periodically giving out batches, and stuff like that. And then not only that, I started off with the highest because, like, there's some people, like, take myself for instance. My right hand is at 1610. Well, if I pull this event and lose to somebody, I could be under that 1600, right? So the highest guys are going to be the guys that have been more established and kept that ELO high, and so I'll just work from the top down. So, yep, we'll be giving out the pro coins. Another thing I'm going to do is I have a lot of EVW posters. So I think I'm going to do like 40 posters to the first 40 entries. So, and then probably a free poster after that if you buy something at the merch table.
Are they signed? Or are they just
they're not
EVW posters? Okay.
Yeah, they're just posters.
So
something. Yeah, I got a ton of them.
Oh, Lucian.
Hey. Jesus. The last time he was on my live feed, he was flipping people off, And the reason he does that is because he's into WWE. And, all these wrestlers are flipping each other off on the,
I grew up with WWE. I was in the Attitude Era. That was my Yeah.
They flipped his pawpaw off the other day, and they just got a tickle out of it. He's getting ready to go to middle school. I don't need that. So, what else we got? Oh, I got a big box from Primo Chalk.
Oh,
so yeah, Primo Chalk jumped back on board this year for another sponsorship. So I have got a ton of samples to give out at registration. There, we do have.
I will be grabbing some of that.
Yeah. So these things are cool. These are the odor orbs, is what they call them. So you take these things because Primo uses essential oils in their chalk.
Okay.
So you can take these balls, like they're like chalk balls basically, but you put them like in your gym bag or your shoes or something like that, and they eliminate the odor. I got a number of those.
That's actually a good idea.
I think I got like 10 of those. I'll be handing those out.
Play ping pong in my work shoes, my dudes, after work sometimes, and
got some other samples.
Not good. It's a bad smell.
Yeah, and then we got 2 big old bags that are going to refill our 5-gallon bags for the year. 5-gallon buckets for the year. So, and with this new thing, we do have a new discount code that I'll be posting shortly. But I'll be giving these out as well. They've got a QR code on them with a discount and everything like that. Get 10% off your purchase. So, real big shout out to Primo jumping back on board. The business is here in Texas.
In Austin?
So I think they have a warehouse in Austin, but their main building is in Fort Worth.
Oh, super dope.
Yeah.
Well, they've been super awesome for the TAL. I know that. So.
Oh, yeah. But one thing I am going to do differently at this event is I ordered some chalk balls, and instead of having a loose chalk flying around everywhere, because I had it in my mind, I'm like, man, all those bikes that are still left in the showroom are going to have like this haze of dust all over them, because for some reason arm wrestlers think they have to use a pound of chalk. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going to try to mitigate that a little bit with some chalk balls and stuff like that. But we'll still have the Primo product out there everybody can use. So
Man,
yeah,
cool.
I think it's gonna be good. It seems like you said, looking at the event page, it seems like this is gonna be a pretty decent turnout. Last event leading into Texas State. So
yeah, I'll be there doing pictures, and then we'll have some video. We're gonna go a little hybrid with that.
Yeah, so that's another thing. If you come to the event, make sure you get with Trayton. Let's get some really cool high def photos of you and stuff like that. We've kind of like he said, we've kind of came up with some new ideas. These photos can help. They could be just for you, or they can help with flyers in the future and stuff like that. So
yeah, just want to get out of not necessarily get out of it, but just make it a little bit more open as far as the athletes having access to their photos. But then also when these super matches, as we're trending towards the super matches, having professional photos of you in a pose when you're all jacked up right before a tournament is going to be the best time to take that photo, especially if we're in a Harley Davidson facility with a sick background that can go in it. Or
I was going to talk to you about that a little bit more too, because I'm moving forward with this idea. We can actually probably come up with like an actual photo booth, either with a specific backdrop or something like that, or just a straight blacked out backdrop. That way you can you put some control factors in there if you need some lights or something like that.
Yeah.
I have extra cameras too, so I've often thought about just setting a camera up in a particular area and be like, hey, just jump in, just take your photo, and then we'll post all the photos later, and stuff like that. So just have a camera just sitting there, and you just walk up, take your photos, stuff like that.
Yeah, and at least for this time around, while we're working on that, I will be there on Friday, and so I'll be scoping out the area, and we'll come up with something that just get with me if you want one. I might just force you to do one anyways. I'll probably just be.
I say we force them.
Yeah, I'll probably just be grabbing you and saying, "Hey, stand there and give me your best pose," and we'll go for that. But I have a Facebook page, all show originals. Just started that up. Going to be posting a lot more of the pictures and probably videos, and maybe even getting into interviews a little bit too. That will be going on there. So check that out if you guys get a chance.
Yeah. Let's see what else we got going on. I feel like there was something else I wanted to talk about. We went down a rabbit hole like we usually do.
Yep, I'm going to take a picture of your dudes, Robert, that you have on, almost exclusively dudes, and I'll just do a half down from waist down photo for you for your super match photo.
What did I miss here?
Sign-ups require a photo, he said.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But there's something to that. I mean, here's the thing that this can filter in it, because I know that Ayers was also talking about, like, at some point on their website, like when you go to your profile, like
stock photo.
Yeah, these things, you click on Billy Ortegas and boom, his page comes up. You see a picture of me, stuff like that, So you never know where these pictures like that could come in handy.
And gym shorts. Robert. Yeah, no, these stock photos will be great just in general, I think.
Yeah.
Just to have, and also to see long-term progression for some of the veterans that have been pulling with the TAL for as many years that they have, and just good for everything in general. So
yeah,
want to be more open with that and more free-willing, and if you want prints and stuff like that, you have that available in multiple different avenues, and super exciting.
Yeah, so another thing in that aspect that we talked about is kind of scrapping the long form video.
Because you'll have it anyways with the live, which is what everybody goes to. By the time we get to editing something, we get it uploaded, transferred from the memory card over to the computer, and then go through it and edit it and then upload it to YouTube. All the athletes have already pulled everything off the live anyways. So it's like,
I mean, that's the thing. We've got, Robert with his live feed and everything like that, and then,
and that quality is just getting better with the live feed as time goes on.
Yeah.
It's just a better way of doing it, really.
Yeah. And then we could focus on more highlights, more reels, more shorts, stuff like that. You, instead of trying to bounce between every table, there's a banger of a match coming up to table number 2. We're just going to sit on that table, until that plays out. You're going to be filtering in pictures along with these videos and stuff like that to get a different variety. So, as far as from like Trayton's camera view, there's going to be a lot less long form footage and a lot more shorter stuff.
Yes.
And then like you said, the long form is going to be the live feed, which people are clipping it already, So
yep. As they should. I've done it. Everybody does it. They want it right away because it fades, and next weekend you got another arm wrestling tournament or something like that.
Yeah. No, take it. I mean, I'm not copyrighting anybody.
Please, promote yourself as much as possible. It's good for everybody. So
yeah, for sure. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, Pullover Special Kids. Obviously, we started helping Rick with that. October 11th.
Sure, that gets in. Oh, left hand. There it is. Yeah. Coming.
So this is one of those situations where it just like adding an extension to a rankings match, trying to work through it and stuff like that, and then it, adding to this event and stuff like you and Jason Montgomery's rankings match. We did a little extension on that because we've got a commitment to do pulling for Special Kids. So that's going to be a plus. We are working. So I did put the event page out today. So if you're watching right now, go to the TAL page, share that event. It's not our event. I just do it for Rick. Rick's hosting it along with Tyler Arm Wrestling Association. It's just a little bit easier for me to help him out with some of these things. I know Desiree
live streamed event.
We don't have anybody coming in to do it, like a Robert or anything like that. So it usually ends up getting streamed on one of the East Texas pages.
Okay.
That's what they did last year. But it, who knows? May try to set something up,
Well, I'll have my camera there with me, and obviously I'm in a match, but I'll have my camera, and at the very least, maybe hybrid. Maybe do some long form there or something like that if that's what you want. So Robert is doing it.
I know Robert said he was coming. He didn't necessarily I know he said he was coming. I didn't know he was coming. So if that's the case, then cool. But
super cool.
That'll be coming out. If you or anybody knows if they want to donate to that event, you can contact Rick Parlett directly, or I'll help facilitate that if somebody wants to try to go through it. Any type of monetary donations. I know we've got some other stuff. I know we've got a couple items that we've gotten. Nathan's got an item. I got some items coming from some different people that we're going to throw into like a raffle to try to generate some more funds to donate. So, we'll see what we can draw up this year for the Special Olympics there in Smith County.
Yeah, we got some great matches on that card.
Getting there. I think we'll probably add a couple more. I mean, we'll see kind of what pops up. But I mean, with this one, I've been talking to D Woody about this Adrian match already for a while. And he wanted it, he really wanted it under the TAL banner, but I just don't have anything logistically that makes sense. Texas State didn't make sense. Our central region, which would have been closer to Adrian, is not till August of next year. So I just, there wasn't any times I was like, you know what? So I can get it. We can get it done at Pulling for Special Kids. That'll be a good highlight. It'll be a great match to highlight the event, stuff like that. So, yeah, Adrian was down. We got that set. Then this fell into place with you and Jason. That's going to be another banger.
TAL ranking match. Number 2 on that 176 board. Jason doesn't even belong on there. I don't even know why he got on that, but we'll take care of that. I'll take care of that. Put him back down. Yeah. 98 is about 98% as good as the TAL is what you meant to say there. I got you.
Yeah, I think it was backwards. It was just like yeah.
All right.
Yeah, what else? Yeah, I think that's about it, man. If I had anything else I wanted to talk about, I done forgot about it.
Yeah, we'll do it on the next one.
Yeah, we'll see everybody this weekend that's coming out. It's going to be a good event. It's going to be indoors. Thank God. I just really don't think I can host an outdoor event in Texas. Like
in August.
It's really just too hot, and I don't know.
Even
more power to everybody else that does it.
Even on one of the most mildest summers that we've had in a while.
That is true. It hasn't been too bad this year. So from knock on wood.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me, Billy. It's
all right, buddy.
Enjoy it.
We'll catch everybody up this weekend. Hopefully you can make it out to Texas State. I know it's out there, but it's going to be a good one. And then we'll kick back up again. Well, it'll probably mostly be February. We'll be looking at EVW again. So,
all right.
Put it on your radar. Later.
Later.